Most organizations treat AI adoption as a technology problem. But if you're a CMO right now, the harder truth is that the tech is often the easy part. It's the people, trust, and culture underneath where rollouts tend to stall. And right now, with AI moving faster than most teams can absorb, the leaders who are getting results aren't the ones with the most sophisticated tools. They're the ones who are building psychological safety for their teams to experiment, fail, and keep going. Today, I'm joined by Shelly Alvarez, VP of Marketing Services at Applied Digital. She leads the post-sales delivery teams responsible for turning client strategy into execution. And she's been navigating a full organizational AI transformation in real time. In this episode, we talk about how Shelly built an internal AI council that proactively surfaces solutions before clients even ask for them, why she puts quality above speed as her guiding philosophy, even when the pressure to move fast is coming from the top, and what it took to shift her team's energy from tension to genuine excitement about where things are heading. I'm Brianna Lawler, and this is the CMO Club podcast. Shelly, thank you so much for meeting with me and being willing to speak with me on the CMO Club. I'd love to hear a little bit about you, your role, and the company you work within.
Yeah, well, thank you for the invite. I'm Vice President of Marketing Services at Applied Digital. So I manage our delivery teams that are post-sales. We were formerly Ragnarok, and we were acquired by Applied Digital last year. It's been, I think, about a year now.
Very exciting to be acquired. Like, there's a lot that comes with this.
Yes.
It's new energy, new resourcing, hopefully.
Yes.
Has it changed how things are operating?
Yes, it really has. Getting acquired was a change.
Yes.
And then we just had another big change. We got a new CEO.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
So
New
two
energy
big,
injection.
two big changes. And his focus, he comes from an AI background.
Yes.
And his name is Ali, but we call him affectionately, we call him Dr. Ali.
Nice.
Yeah. So he is really changing our landscape of AI. He's shifted our mindset. And I know a lot of people will think about AI of it's a cost savings or a cost cutting, endeavor. And he's really shifted our mindset of, no, that's not what he wants to do. He wants it to be a multiplier. So for us to be able to go, bigger, better, faster in everything that we do. So he has positioned and kind of challenged us to say, all of the processes and all of the deliverables that we do today, how can we do it differently with AI, right? And so that's really our marching orders this year. And he's also really big on experimenting.
Great.
Right?
Yes.
So we celebrate our wins and we also laugh at our fails because
learn from them.
And learn from them. If you're using AI, you're gonna have some failures. And you know what? I'm a big advocate of you got to inject laughter into everything you do. So if you've got some funny fails, share them and laugh about them, learn from them, and go on. So
thank you for sharing all of that too. And you had mentioned something sort of in our preamble that your new CEO wants AI to be somewhat embedded in the DNA of the organization. From your view, in your view, what does that look like? Because when it's embedded, it's not just layered on top to existing workflows. It's like AI native at our core. This is how we're operating from a completely different standpoint. So can you walk me through kind of the A to B process of shape-shifting the organization?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It kind of goes back to what I said about everything from our processes to our deliverables, right? We are being challenged with mapping out what does the non-AI way look like, and then what does the AI way look like, and how do we get there? And then even when you get to the AI way, how do you continue to make it, better, month over month or year over year? Challenging that status quo of even if you have something today that's working really well, how can you reinvent it?
Right. So. I think that's how you stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
For your customer base, the people that you're working within, Are they as AI forward as your organization is, or is there a little bit of friction there and as far as what you're trying to do internally and then how you're presenting, you're showing up externally?
I think that they are. We had the keynote this morning here at Iterable.
Yes.
Nova was rolled out, right? All of the AI tools. So I know that both of our customers are in the AI atmosphere. I think if you would have asked me that question 3 years ago, we were trying to convince people that they need to use AI.
Sure.
We don't see that anymore. You
So
know,
it's the
customers, customers aren't, they don't need to be convinced, but they are asking for direction, right? They're asking for help of where can we use it? Where do we maybe not use it, right? And how do we get in that low-hanging fruit, right? Like where's a great starting spot for AI? So I think that's where we're seeing most of our customers come in of, you know, where do I start? How do I get started?
Yes.
And where do I not jump into the deep end?
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you consider enterprise or applied digital an enterprise level organization?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. So with that, there are going to be some deep rooted processes, ways of working that fundamentally can be hard to change.
Yeah.
What have you seen to work well when you're making these changes, whether that's empowering your people or you're trying to lead with curiosity and experimentation, and what results are you getting back?
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of circle back to around to what I said. Don't go to the deep end, right?
Sure.
Start at the shallow end.
Yeah.
And where we're seeing AI work really well is in that operational layer, right? Things that are very repeatable, building reports, pulling analytics.
Yes.
I teased earlier today in our session that AI never tells you at 5 o'clock on Friday that they have to leave because they're going to happy hour, right?
Sure.
So if you're
Not
having
yet.
someone, not yet, like, come on, Claude. No, you don't need to leave. But if you're depending on people to pull reports on a Friday at 5, that's a great use case for AI, right? I think we're also seeing personalization at scale, right? Of where I can remember back when I was on the brand side, we would have a data team that was 20 people. Right. And you don't need that now, right?
No,
you can have smaller teams, you know, getting to those same outcomes. So maybe that one might be too scary for people. They're like, wait, I'm not ready for personalization, but you should be ready to do reports. And I think you should also feel very comfortable of AI finding anomalies, right? It's really good at sifting through things very quickly. You know, you can ask it, go find my worst performing, you know, campaign or my best performing campaign or a campaign that stopped, right? It can find it like that. But then to answer your question, where do we still want to be cautious, right? AI is going to only be as good as the data. So if it's garbage in, you're going to get garbage out, right?
This has come up a lot in conversations with other leaders.
Your data's got to be solid, and you may get faster to an answer, but you're just going to get faster to a wrong answer, right? So
does it have to be unified, or can it still be fragmented? You said data has to be solid.
I'm going to go with unified, you know, and that has to be an evolution. Not everybody can say, okay, next month I'm going to have a unified database, right? I know it has, but you do have to get towards a unified database. That way you've got one source of truth, because if it's constantly fragmented, you're going to constantly have hands going into those different silos and making changes and just causing more chaos.
And they're not always communicating with each other, right? So especially if there's a human component. AI can make mistakes, human can make mistakes. Hopefully we all learn from that and then we iterate on it. Do you feel like you have a fairly strong customer base with which you can experiment and try things out internally as far as your own AI process adaptation and also what you're trying to serve up for your customers?
Oh, absolutely. One really fun thing that we're doing with our team is we're meeting on a weekly basis. I'm going to call it, for lack of better words, my AI team. Even if customers haven't asked them to do something, we've challenged them. You know, go find something that your customer's doing that's manual and go see if you can do it, you know, bigger, better, faster with AI.
Excellent.
So they just, they proactively do it and then they go show it, you know, to the customer. So we don't have to wait for the customer to come to us. Let's see what we can develop for them. And it's okay for them to say no.
Of course.
It happens. If a customer says, I don't want to do it that way, I'm not comfortable with that, no worries.
Yeah, you will find some way to do it.
Yeah.
And it usually comes from, this is a pain point. We've been
Yeah.
repeating this. It's been very manual. There's got to be a bigger, better way that we can do it. And you're like,
Yeah.
ding, 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 we've got the solution for you.
Yeah.
But taking that proactive approach is really valuable, because in the conversations that I've had with leaders over the past few months, one thing that comes up is curiosity. There's usually a tipping point. People have fear. But if you have like a willingness to try things out, you're often going to get to a more informed result than if you were just to do the same thing.
Yep.
But people are looking for a guide through that process.
Yeah.
It's really hard to just have the onus be on you, whether you're a leader or you're a contributor, to just go ahead and experiment and change all our processes overnight. Like, you need someone to be like, here's what we did. Here's what, tell us where you want to get to. We'll walk you through step by step how to get there. So much to be said for the foundational layer. I know you referenced the operational layer as a fundamental component too. In your view, are there a few different stages to this AI progression as far as adoption?
I think so. Like with everything that you do, it's got to be an evolution, right? Don't go to the biggest, scariest, most complex problems that you need to solve, right?
Yeah.
Get comfortable, right? Get comfortable with some of those more simplistic things, those reports that you're running or the data that you need to go get. You're gonna end up trusting the AI more. You're gonna end up trusting yourself more.
Oh, yes.
You're gonna get more excited. Like, if I have an AI win because I've got an AI to build something for me that I was doing manually, like, I'm super excited about it, right? I'm proud. I'm telling people, right? So, just start with those those simple challenges and then work your way up to more complex.
Simple things that arguably take a lot of manual effort and can be replicated, and that's where this tool then becomes available and can yield some impressive ROI. I'd love to hear sort of the temperature gauge in your conversation earlier with people in the room during your speaker session. What kind of came up? What were some common challenges or themes that presented themselves? Were you surprised at what came up?
The common theme that came up, which, okay, I'm going to show my age. I've been in CRM space for 30 years.
So you have a wealth of expertise.
Thank you.
Yes.
As my kids would say, you're advanced, not old, you're advanced, Mom. Thank you. We've had the same challenges for 30 years. And that's getting to clean data, right? That somehow we've, as humans, we have not solved that, right? So that was a theme today, right? How do you make sure that you can trust your data?
Right.
How do you make sure that you have clean data before you use AI, right? Because I think I said it earlier, garbage in, garbage out, right? If you are using AI but your data isn't where it needs to be, then you're just, like I said earlier, you're just going to fail faster, right?
It's like a make-work situation.
Yeah. So that was a theme that came up today. And so did it surprise me? Yeah. No. I think if you and I sat down 10 years from now, we could have the same conversation. Yeah. Because I think it's naive to think that that every customer is going to solve their data challenges. No. Because these customers are still growing, whether they're acquiring another company or adding a new product, right? They have some growth maybe that wasn't expected, or changes that wasn't expected. So you just have to make a conscious effort to continuously work on that data to keep it as clean and structured as possible.
Yeah, and that's a really good point to keep in mind. It maybe isn't the most glamorous aspect of it, but if you do the fundamental work, there's so many things you can layer on top of it and get results. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Okay. But you had mentioned speed and cleanliness of data as being a source of importance. If you had to choose one theme as far as your philosophy to approaching AI for the year, and you had to choose between speed, experimentation, and quality, what would you lean into? You can only choose one.
I can only choose one?
Only choose one. You can get creative with how you respond to this.
Okay, I'm going to back out of it. Okay, I'm taking speed off the table, but now I've got to choose between quality and experimentation. You're asking a marketer to choose between quality and
I know, how dare I?
I know. Okay, so we're always challenging our customers to experiment more, but I've got to then take that one off the table. It's got to be quality, right? I think no matter what you do, no matter how much you experiment, no matter how slow, fast you go, you've got to put quality over everything. So I'm very comfortable with my answer there. Quality over everything.
And do you think a lot of that comes from having sound knowledge of your customers and then informing the AI that you're using of what sort of you want to get to as your end result and having that clean data? Is that kind of like the lens that you're looking at it from?
Yeah, my customers care about speed, but they care about quality a lot more,
right?
And sometimes when we're building a solution, they don't even want to know how we got to the solution.
Isn't that fascinating?
They want to know that we have the solution for them, right?
Okay.
That's what we were hired to do.
Can you share a little bit about the industries that you often work within or kind of like where they're at as far as their process when you come in and support?
We have a variety of industries, so we don't really have anything that we say we just do this particular industry. We love working with all of them, but we have, financial. We succeed very well there. We succeed very well.
That's an interesting point because, I had a conversation earlier and finance was an industry that was sort of flagged as maybe a little bit more cautious around AI.
Yeah.
So can you speak to that? Like if that's someone that you're working with, how are you navigating that? Because they have a little bit more rigorous structures in place from a privacy standpoint and regulation and data governance. There's a lot there. And if things don't go as planned, there's a lot of serious repercussions. Yeah. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. I would say that for our customers that are in financial or in fintech, we have more collaboration with them than we do with any other customer. Let's just say a shoe customer, perhaps, right? Sure. If you make a mistake on an email and shoes, we're all going to live. We're all going to be okay, right? But if you make a mistake with a customer, in a more regulated industry, there are some higher stakes there. So what I see, on our customers that maybe be more in retail, they may hand us something that we execute, but our customers in the financial space, it's collaboration all day long, right? To make sure that we understand their needs, that they make sure they understand if we have any limitations, and then vice versa as well. So just really extensive collaboration with that type of industry.
A true partner to figure out like what safeguards need to be in place so that we can run wild with this, thing
Absolutely, absolutely. Knowing those parameters where everyone knows them so that we don't step on anything that we shouldn't be stepping on.
No, that's wise. And you're an expert in your space, marketing services, VP of marketing services, but the people on the side who are your clients in finance are an expertise in their area. And then you have this symbiosis as you connect and figure out what outcome do we want to get to, and then maybe are you reverse engineering the process a little bit with them, knowing where you want to get to and how AI can support, or is it like you build it as you are flying it?
That's a very interesting thought. I'm kind of thinking about that a second. Do we reverse engineer it? Probably not.
Knowing what outcome you want to get to, and then
sure. I'm sure that my team could be listening right now and go, Shelly, remember, yes, we reversed it here. But usually more we're marching, in the direction of the solution.
I want to ask you something because you related to your team, and I feel like when you're in a leadership position, you have this role where people look to you for guidance, they look to you for answers. You're also tasked with empowering your team, empowering your clients, and then following the mandate of whatever the board or leadership suggests, whether they're your partners or above you. How do you navigate that tension and take action meaningfully when it comes to AI and knowing what next best step to take?
I think it would be a naive answer to say there's no tension with AI, right? Okay. There is tension with AI. So the mandates have to come from the highest leadership, you know, and I mentioned that earlier with our new CEO. He, one of the very first day on the job, I think, he said, we're not using AI for cost savings or job eliminations. We are using AI to multiply. We're using it as a multiplier to go bigger, better, faster. So the fact that he said that just took so much tension off of my team, right? And then I think we've also, not just with AI, this has always been kind of a part of my philosophy, leave room for mistakes.
Yes.
Leave room for mistakes, right? So we're going to make mistakes with AI. So one of the things that I do, my leadership style,
Yes.
I tell everybody about my mistakes.
Oh,
you know,
good.
all of my
How
AI
humble.
mistakes, all of my AI mistakes, I'm like, look at what I did, right?
Yeah.
So then I've created this environment for them to make mistakes too.
Yes.
So eliminate some of that tension that maybe they have. Be open to of, I tried this with AI and I never could get to a good outcome. That's fine. That is absolutely fine. Let's use it where it's going to perform best.
Yes. Yes, and that only comes from trying it out and then taking that knowledge and trying again.
Yeah.
So the show and tell aspect I think has come up again. Like you're holding a position of power, but you can also rely on other people in your team to help inform you.
Yeah.
Two-part question, and then we'll sort of get to our closing.
Okay.
And the two-part is, what is really exciting to you over the next 3 months, 6 months? And what are you really proud of as far as impact that you've had over the last couple of months, 6 months? Because things are moving so fast.
Sure.
I really don't want to map out to 10 years from now, to your point earlier. But
Sure. Oh, I'm going to give a cheesy answer, but it is, you know, I'm really looking forward to seeing how my team rises to that challenge of transforming their jobs, you know, to that non-AI, to that AI. And I've already seen it. I've just seen this like renewed excitement. You mentioned tension, and I have seen it shift from tension to excitement.
Yes.
You know, we have that weekly meeting now where my team shares things that they've come up with using AI. So I think that has enabled them to move from that environment of tension to that environment of, look what I did.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm excited to continue to see that and kind of that renewed energy.
Yes.
I would say renewed energy that I wasn't expecting. Right? So
Nice
that's
perk.
been, so that's been kind of fun as well. I am really proud of, I mentioned it earlier, but this proactive approach that my team is taking with AI, that it's enabled them to not wait for the customer to ask them for a solution.
Sure.
They're just going in, playing around with it, seeing what they can create, and then going to the customer with a potential solution that the customer didn't even ask for.
It's been informed.
So that I'm really proud of them for that.
I think that's a really good mindset. There's a curiosity component there that can actually deliver pretty meaningful outcomes rather if you do it strategically. And it sounds like that's what your team is focused in on. Thank you for sharing that note and for making the time to connect.
Absolutely.
It's been
for
awesome
having
to hear
me.
your insights, and kudos to you for having this positive mentality and how you approach it and getting those results for your customers as well.
Well, thank you. Thanks
Awesome.
again.